Okay, so tell me what you think of people who abuse animals, first of all.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Right, okay. What would you call abuse? How would you describe it?
Mental, physical.
Yes, you're one of the few people that ever says mental. Yeah, because you can intimidate somebody as well.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
regard that to be abusive behaviour. So somebody kicking a dog or bullfighting and stuff like that, what do you think of all that stuff?
Not on. Don't.
Okay. Right, last question is the tricky one. I'm not trying to dog you out. What about the animals that we send in the slaughterhouses? The ones that we cut their throats, we gas them, we electrocute them, we shoot them in the head, and we turn them into food and clothing when you can just eat or wear something else instead. What about those animals?
A good question.
Do you think that can be justified?
It could be justified if it's done humanely. They've had it. It's not mass factory. You know,
If they've had a good life, is that what you're going to say?
well,
How would you, my question to you would be, how do you humanely kill somebody?
you change it to somebody now.
Yeah. How would you humanely kill an animal? I call them some, I think they are. I don't think they're things, I think they're somebody. They're someone, not something, surely, no. But anyway, we're on the semantics of words. How would you humanely kill an animal that doesn't want to die? I'm not trying to dog you out, man. I'm genuinely not.
That's a fair question.
Have you ever thought of it that way before?
I don't think I could do it myself. It's just something like everyone else.
Yeah. So, I'm asking you tricky questions. I understand that. I used to pay for it myself. But do you think it's okay if you wouldn't harm an animal yourself? Then why is it okay to pay somebody else to do it for you when you buy the product? That's the questions that I'm asking people.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to dog people out, and I'm not trying to do gotchas or anything like that. I'm an animal rights activist. I've been in these places and seen what the animals go through. I'm not cool with it. And I want other people who, like yourself, love animals and wouldn't harm an animal to say, yeah, I'm not cool with that either, and I'm not going to pay for that anymore either. That's what I'm trying to do.
I mean, I drive a lot and I see, you know, the cattle trucks with the pigs and all in them, and
Sad, man.
It's sad, very sad. You know.
Let me tell you one thing we do to animals here in this country. You're talking about pigs, right? So there's two main slaughterhouses for pigs in Northern Ireland. If you're driving, you've probably been past them and maybe not realised. So one is in Cookstown on Molesworth Street, big massive factory there, and the other one is in Galgorm in Ballymena, beside Galgorm Resort and Spa.
Yes.
Cranswick Country Foods.
Mean,
You've seen it on the Finicky Road.
Aye.
Do you know what they do to the pigs when they get there? Do you know how they dispose of them in both facilities?
No.
They put them in gas chambers, man. What do you think of that?
That's
Horrible.
that is.
Yeah. So I've been at both. I used to do vigils at them where they'd stop the trucks and we'd get to spend a few minutes with them. It might sound crazy to you, but those pigs, man, never see an ounce of love or care in their entire lives. They live for 6 months in the shittiest conditions you can ever imagine, in darkness and squalor.
Yeah.
And the first day they ever see the hedgerows or the sunshine is the day somebody comes in one of those trucks and they're forced onto the truck and they take them to a gas chamber and they're suffocated to death, man. It's fucking disgusting, pardon my language.
No.
And they are terrified from the minute they arrive. The gassing can take anywhere between 40 seconds and maybe 2 minutes. Sometimes they're still showing signs of... They come out of the gas chamber, they've got a shackle around their leg, they're still alive. The gassing makes them unconscious, but it's CO2, so it's like suffocation. Absolutely horrific, man. Hung upside down and somebody pulls a knife across their throat and they bleed out choking in their own blood. Man, it is horrific. So I know we're all taught that bacon's nice and pork sausages and all that stuff. But if you can buy a vegan sausage instead and it tastes almost identical, and you're not paying for animals to be thrown in the gas chambers, well, how can you justify still buying the pork? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
What do you think of all that? Is that?
Yeah, that's food for thought. Like it's same as with chickens. You know, breeding them quickly to mass produce. I'm against all that.
Of course, man. Of course, but that's the way farming has become now is mass producing almost always. Like 95% of pigs in this country grow up on factory farms, and over 90% of them die in gas chambers. The rest are electrocuted and something. I've been in the small farms, man, and oftentimes this is something people don't want to admit. Oftentimes the conditions in the small local farms are worse than in the big factory farms. We did a farm in Clough-Mill, not Clough-Mills, what's it called? Lochgiel. Yeah, 2 years ago, it was on the news. We went into a farm, 50 of us, it had already been spied out in the middle of the night, man, in a small local farm. See the conditions for those animals. Red tractor approved as well. The gold standard. Man, I cried for 2 days. I'm nearly crying now thinking about it. It's disgusting what those animals have to go through. Pardon me, man, I just get upset about it. I do not want to pay for that.
Yeah.
The same for dairy cows, the same for beef cows, the same for chickens. Is absolutely terrible what they go through. People talk about free range. Have you ever been in a free range barn?
No.
So there's like 15 birds to a square metre, man, in a free range barn. 4,000 in one of those barns, and they get 48 days, 49 days maybe, from birth to fully grown. They can't even support their weight because we've bred them to put on weight so much, so quickly.
Yes.
Their legs give out. They're lying in their own faeces and urine, which is why when you see those trucks, you're bound to have seen them, they're red raw and the feathers are off. That's burning, man, from their own urine and faeces. And then they go in and they're dipped into water with upside down an electric current to stun them, and then their throats are cut. Man, hens are lovely animals. These are lovely animals.
Yeah.
All got their own wee individual personalities and stuff. I certainly would never do that to an animal. And a few years ago, I just decided, right, well, that's how supply and demand works. If I buy it, somebody's going to gas a pig or somebody's going to electrocute and cut a chicken's throat. I'm not paying for that. I just buy vegan options now, man.
So, the likes of Marks and Spencer say they have RSPCA approved.
Absolutely atrocious, man.
How can the
RSPCA I believe, get donations from farming. Some are running around £5 million a year.
So it's all about the money, isn't it?
So if they put their branding on, then they get, and people think, and good-hearted people think RSPCA approved, it's got to be good, right? Yeah. It's got to be good. I know guys in England, there's a guy friendly with, Joey Carbstrom's running a campaign. He went into one of the gas chamber facilities and lay in the gas chamber and above it and filmed the pigs being gassed to expose it. Man, you should hear the screams of those animals. It would give you nightmares. It's terrible. So they went to the RSPCA to call them out, and they wouldn't even come out to speak to him. So they're putting their stamp of approval on that. Suffocating animals to death in the most horrific fashion you can ever imagine. This is the organisation that's supposed to... So people go in and they think, oh, RSPCA approved, that must be great.
Yeah.
They're putting their approval on things like pig thumping, where the wee baby pigs, right? Some of them they're bred in their hundreds. Those farms, the smallest local pig farm would have somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000 pigs. The big factory farms, as people talk about, maybe 30,000. So some of the wee runts of the litter don't grow fast enough, or they get sick, or they get injured, or the other pigs attack them. And do you know how it's called thumping? Do you know what that is, to get rid of them? Because they're going to. It's not worth my while as a farmer paying this little pig, because he's just going to eat and he's not going to be worth much. So let's get rid of him. Thumping is where they get them. This is RSPCA approved, by the way. It's unbelievable. They get them by the hind legs and they just smash them off the concrete floor.
Done them in.
Blunt force trauma to the head. Or against the wall, or against a steel lintel, or whatever, man. Some of these things are absolutely... People don't realise what's going on in these farms.
No.
And I'm just not cool with
the whole
that.
Food industry is
and leather.
They're poisonous with everything.
Yeah, man, it's terrible. And you can just eat plants instead, or you can eat the alternative. You go into Tesco's and Sainsbury's and Asda and Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's with a full plant-based kitchen range. Sainsbury's have a full vegan food all over the place. I'm going to ask you one question before you go. Here's my final question to you, and I'll give you a card and I'll let you go. If you're eating a vegan product or an animal-based product, and let's say it tastes 5 or 10% different, right? Just a little different. What's more valuable to you? Taste difference or an animal's life? That's how I think about it.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I would have to.
Worth thinking about.
Worth thinking about, yes.
It's about to pour rain, and I am going to get it. Let you go, but I appreciate you stopping, man. I really do.
No problem.
I'm just out here trying to get people to make that connection and saying to people,
Yeah.
if you're not cool with it, then abstain from buying the products.
All right.
That's my socials there, but I'm going to ask you to watch that one thing. See that best speech you'll ever hear?
Yes.
That's literally the best thing I've ever heard in my life. And I changed to vegan overnight after listening to that guy, and it's really powerful, man. So if I've given you something to think about, watch that sometime, and he'll
right.
push you a wee bit further down the road.
right.
What's your name?
John.
I appreciate you, man.
No bar.
Have a good day.